is Associate Professor Annabel Taylor. I'm the Director of the Queensland Centre for Domestic and Family Violence Research, which is hosted by Central Queensland University. I'm really looking forward to talking with you all today because QCDFVR, or our centre, is celebrating the origins of the centre in 2002 this November. The actual birth date of the centre was in October 2002, but our celebration is going to be on the 28th of November this year. So in 2002, a number of community leaders and academics from Central Queensland University got together to outline a vision for a domestic and family violence research centre to be based in Mackay and to be hosted by the Centre for Social Science Research, which was at the time one of the key research centres in Central Queensland University. And in May 2002, the then Minister for Families, Judy Spence, announced the funding of $1.3 million over 3 years for the new centre and for it to be based in Mackay. So this was a significant achievement for the community, both the community and the university at that time. And what was set in place was quite a unique model in terms of a centre that was going to contribute to the prevention of domestic and family violence across Queensland. It still is an innovative model and quite unusual in terms of domestic and family violence research and indeed practice. In those early years, indeed in 2002, Dr. Heather Nancaro was appointed as the director at that time, and she began a considerable history of development in terms of research that had a particular focus on the incidence of domestic violence in remote and regional areas, and with a view to aiming to understand how domestic and family violence occurs in regional Queensland. Part of the original contract with the Department of Communities for the research centre was for it also to play a major part in sector development, and this is where this research centre has developed quite a unique role in the domestic and family violence sector. Because with the combination of research and sector development, what it has meant is that the centre has played a pivotal role under Heather's guardianship initially and leadership to ensure that research was translated into the implications for practice, and indeed that practice and understanding more about the different interventions that were available across the state fed into research and indeed evaluation research. And so the centre in those early days really developed this flow between research and knowledge translation and feeding then into the services sector. The centre has always had a very strong relationship with the peak bodies in domestic and family violence across the state. So the Queensland Domestic and Family Violence Services Network, QCDFVR, and SPEAK, which is the body representing men's behaviour change programs in the state, have for a long time been involved in various advisory capacities with the centre. The centre has also played a significant role since 2002 in mounting an Indigenous Family Violence Forum annually. And that again has been an opportunity for the centre to bring together practitioners, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander practitioners from across the state, with an opportunity to share their practice, but also to hear from other experts in the field and to build their knowledge and indeed go back to their communities, hopefully with strength and understanding, and also through being able to learn from each other and also heal somewhat, because the work that they do in remote regional communities is often very intense. And so it gives the attendees at the Indigenous Family Violence Forum an opportunity to support each other and to provide peer supervision, and then go back to their communities refreshed. The other, the centre has changed over the years. There was a key point in 2013 where the 50% or abouts of the funding for the contract for the centre was at that time given to ANROS, Australia's National Research Organisation for Women's Safety, in order for the centre to undertake research on behalf of ANROS, or in partnership with ANROS, and on behalf of the Queensland Government. That in effect reduced the funds that were to be applied across the state, and it meant that the sector development aspects of the centre's work continued statewide, but its research involvement in terms of state and policy and practice development was reduced. That changed again in 2016, when a new service agreement was negotiated with the Queensland Government. And due to the fact that Queensland was embarking on significant domestic violence reforms at the time, indeed a very ambitious reform program, as a result of the Queensland Domestic and Family Violence Task Force recommendations, at that time in 2016, it was understood that the centre needed to refocus more comprehensively on the state in terms of returning to its research and policy development role statewide. And so since 2016, the centre has embarked, in some ways returned, to the sector development and research cycle within the Queensland context. However, one of the developments which I have been keen to progress since becoming director of the centre in 2014, late 2014, was to increase the education and training aspects of the centre, again reflecting that important part of sector development, which is adding another very key element to how we continue to shape and develop practices to be more effective in responding to domestic and family violence. And so since 2015 and indeed 2016, the centre has partnered with Central Queensland University, which I must say has been very keen to be innovative and to support the centre in this endeavour. And we have, with the university, launched a suite of vocational educational and training programs in domestic and family violence, which have this really strong focus on service development, and at the same time have launched a suite of postgraduate qualifications, which are aimed at practitioners who have considerable experience in the sector and who really do want to advance their knowledge and become specialists and resources to the organisations that they work for. And so we have now a graduate certificate in domestic and family violence practice, we have a graduate diploma in domestic and family violence practice, and a graduate certificate in facilitating men's behaviour change. And the last qualification, the grad cert in facilitating men's behaviour change, really is a new one for Australia. There has been a graduate certificate available in Victoria that was supported by Swinburne University. Our graduate certificate is an online grad cert, and so this is introducing quite a new learning style in terms of this field of learning and education. We appointed Dr. Andrew Frost, who's a specialist in working with men from New Zealand, and he's been working with the centre now, lecturing in this field for nigh on 2 years. He has developed this qualification very much with the support of the men's behaviour change specialists around the state. Indeed, he has a supporting group for his qualification that reflects the current practice, contemporary practice, and also particularly the concerns of that peak body in terms of what needs to be included in a foundation qualification in working with men in this space. And so QCDFVR, or the Centre, is now really looking forward to further developing the offerings that it has. We're introducing a Master of Domestic and Family Violence Practice from 2018. And in reflection of the investment that the Queensland Government and the Department for Communities and Child Safety and Disability Services is currently making in increasing the workforce capacity in responding to domestic and family violence, the university has entered into a partnership with the government to introduce some scholarships for 20 students to undertake the Graduate Diploma of Domestic and Family Violence Practice. This is a really exciting development, and one which is quite unique and really does demonstrate the commitment of government in partnership with the university and the centre to really support the sector, being mindful of the cost of tertiary training and particularly of postgraduate qualifications in the university context. So we're looking back at this time with the celebration that's coming up on the 28th of November, and are really excited to be celebrating the opening of a new building at that time. So coinciding with this if you like, the birthday of the centre, the university has developed and renovated a beautiful heritage building in Mackay, which used to be the original TAFE building in Mackay, and indeed holds many memories for Mackay residents. It has been renovated in a purposeful way in order to accommodate the centre's team. We have grown to a team of 10 or so staff who will be based here, and the opening of the building on the 28th is going to provide an opportunity for our stakeholders to come and have a look at our new premises and to share in the enjoyment that we have of having a purposely renovated building which is assigned to the centre.